I just started. Welcome to the City Council Finance Subcommittee meeting of December 30th, 2013, 6 o'clock. We have minutes from the prior meeting. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the prior meeting.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
None.
All in favor? Aye. 2-0, I think. Anyone you want to hear?
I'm gonna, I guess I'll have to abstain.
I got 2-0. Mayor's communication. Melissa, anything you want to say?
Didn't say anything.
Okay. Any public speak? You want to say anything, Chief, about the city other than your... or you're remaining quiet? New business, we have none. Continuing business, we'll do them in order. Interdepartmental transfer of $6,500 for new turnout gear for the Call Fire Department. I think it was fairly straightforward with what you wrote, but maybe you could just kind of paraphrase it for us or whatever. It sounds like you can't use old equipment. Is that
yeah, the NFPA, which sets the standards on our gear, recently put out a change where they give it a 10-year lifespan. Unfortunately, the Fire Academy is bound to live by it, so we can't send anybody through live fire training with gear that does not meet the standard.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think it puts the city in a bad spot if we're sending firefighters out in gear that doesn't meet the standard.
The standard is 10-year.
10-year life, regardless of the condition, which hurts us a lot more than it does the bigger cities. They don't get 10 years out of it.
right?
So the 5 new call firefighters that we have that are going through their training right now have gear only to do regular non-live fire training, and once they're done with that and they start manning a shift, we'll need them to be in new gear, just from a liability point of view.
So these are all call firefighters that are new.
Yes, they're all new.
Okay. Councilor Cobb.
Couple little things.
I figured.
First one is we're buying new gear. I hate to say this, but should the new gear go to the veterans, and we have some slightly used?
Unfortunately, the 3/4 of the career guys are in gear that is 10 years or older right now. We've been piecing, I think, last fiscal year, I think I bought 6 sets. I bought 3 this year. And I think that puts us about 16 people that don't have the newer stuff. But starting with Chief Croak, every time we had a new person come in, instead of sending them down to the basement to put old stuff on, you get them outfit with new stuff. Plus, it's custom fit now. It's not you and I share the same coat. The sleeves are cut to length. The pants are cut to length.
Okay. The other one is for the finance director. You do have the balance in the reserve after tonight's
$51,350.
Okay. That's before this or after this?
After this.
Okay.
So that'll still remain 51,000.
Yeah, it's currently 57,850.
Chief, one other. So the requirement is really for the academy, then. It's not like you have to. I mean, I know you should probably have it.
Yeah, there's no requirement for us to send them out the door with it on.
Right.
However, being that's the only national consensus standard for turnout gear, I'd hate to be standing in front of a civil lawsuit explaining why we didn't meet it.
No, that's okay.
No, that makes sense to me.
I agree. Councilor Rist, any questions?
No, I fully, except to say that I hope we can get the other guys
Slowly
sooner
rotate
than later if we can.
We're getting there.
All right. We can look at the same programs we do for cruisers, like 2-1, 2-1 kind of thing, progressive over the years.
The other problem with 26 members,
You need
plus
a
the
little more
golf
than
course.
2 on 1, right?
what happened was
replacing them by the time we get to the end.
in 2003, Chief Croak got a federal grant and outfitted the whole department head to toe, which was great.
But they're all
The
due.
problem is everybody's gear came at the end of the life at the same time.
Yeah.
So now
So now you staggered.
we're trying to stagger them in groups of 4 or 5 at a time.
Okay.
Last year, the mayor allowed me to move some money into the intra-department at the end of the year to purchase some stuff, some gear.
So that's a heads up to the new finance committee to expect. Next year we'll see a request.
Next year, I'm hoping to get a federal grant to outfit the remainder of
Everybody. That'd be great.
Just in case, don't be surprised if you get.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the $6,500 in interdepartmental transfer funds for turnout gear for the call firefighters. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye. Yeah, that already has a public hearing set.
That doesn't have a public hearing.
Doesn't?
No.
Needs-
I will set a public
Wastewater
hearing.
one, yeah, you're right.
I will set a public hearing at the next, on the 6th, and then I don't know what the new committee will, for the 15th, or there may be a new committee. I mean, I'm not sure who's going to chair the committee. We'll make sure.
Besides that, why can't we set it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll set it at the 6th for the 15th.
Right.
As I said. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good luck, Joe. I got Justin's only yes of the night.
He only said one. Okay, moving on. Might as well go right to the
Happy
big
New Year, Dave.
Thank you.
Might as well go right to the big one. This is a supplemental appropriation request for $315,000 for Oliver Street landfill professional services. Director Pipchinsky. Just if you could just give us an overview. I think we got a little bit of the.
Yeah, on the northern side of that landfill, there's some houses that are in Northampton, and we have some monitoring wells there now, and the monitoring wells. These are houses in Northampton. There's monitoring wells up in here. Those monitoring wells show us that there is methane coming across the landfill. In out that way. This shows 29 vents here. We got DEP to reduce that to 15. We said, let's try 15. If 15 works, then why do we need to put in another 15? If 15 doesn't work, then we're going to have to come back and put some more.
I do remember that discussion.
Right.
Yes.
But DEP, they had some elaborate plans for us. They said, we want you to dig a trench 30 feet deep.
Oh my God.
Line one side of it with plastic and fill it with stone so that when the methane comes in, it hits the plastic, it can't go through, and it comes up. Said, holy cow, that's $1 million. Do you realize that? Well, yeah. So we worked with them and came up with an alternate plan here and even got that pared down. So we think we're getting...
The alternate plan is 15 bits.
The alternate plan is 15 bits.
And that's what you're asking for.
That's what we're asking for.
How about the other sides, like southern or east or west? Nothing's creeping either. Just,
Well, there's really no concern there because there's no dwellings.
I see. It's
And they're
when it
worried-
moves toward a.
Right. Well, they're worried that if methane migrates, it's going to get into the cellar. Once it gets into the cellar, then you're talking about possible explosive in the cellars. If there's no structures there, then it can eventually it'll eventually
Leach
come
out.
up. Right. It'll eventually come up.
What I'm understanding is you have 29 vents now. Because you have 29 vents, there's all that methane is getting out because there's so many vents.
No, we have no vents.
Oh,
No, we have no vents, and it's
oh,
actually
it's leaching through the ground.
soil.
Okay, so they wanted 29, you got them down to 15. I
We have
misunderstood.
monitoring wells on the Northampton line. Some of those monitoring wells are even in Northampton. And when we monitor that, we have methane showing up. So they said, well, you got to interrupt that methane before it gets to those houses invented.
Just a practical question: is there any chance Northampton's landfills moving our way? Or like could be like get what I'm saying? Like a mixture of Northampton's.
No, because-
methane? I know they're close, but I'm not. There's a distance. I know.
Well, no, because this is so close. I mean, we're talking a couple hundred feet from the fence of the landfill across the brush dump into the woods. We're talking a couple hundred feet. Northampton's landfill is
further
quite
to
a ways
the-
away. We know that's our methane.
Okay. I was hoping maybe we could get a joint project. You could always try, Joe.
Well, the other thing too is that if he puts the vents on this side and the methane doesn't go down over there, then it's from somewhere else.
Right, true.
Right? Because it's going to be venting from
Right.
our
That's right.
side.
Once we put these vents in, we should absolutely see a reduction in the methane from the
From the
monitoring
monitors
wells.
that are still there.
Right.
So this is going to be during the bad year when all the limbs came down. We opened up that where the wood was all being dumped. This is a little to the north of that.
That's right. That's right.
That sounds kind of important to us. Now, you said that you're going to put it out to bid even though this won't be approved till the 15th.
Yeah, we have to move forward. I mean,
Because, is that all the DEP requires you to bid it, everything?
no.
I mean, to meet their deadline.
Well, I'm hoping that when we put it out to bid, and by the time we review the bids, the money's gonna be there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm worried about the fact that they said they gave you an extension to January 1st, right? To get this started or something?
Obviously, to get the funding started. Obviously, they know we can't be putting any wells in the wintertime, so
Okay, so-
I'm figuring probably end of February, 1st of March, we should be ready to go up there.
Is there any problem with this going a public hearing?
No, it's for the 15th. What, one more question, Joe. I noticed on your documentation, or maybe it was Patty's, originally that it was like 203, and you said it's now 270 due to increase in millings. I'm not sure what a milling is.
Well-
Maybe you can explain it to me again.
Well, see, we thought we were doing something good there. When we put the brush dump in there, it was all sand there before, so that allowed some of that stuff, the methane, to come up through the sand. We took road millings and put road millings in there, so, because in the springtime, the cars couldn't move in there, dumping their brush and their leaves and their grass and stuff. So we put road millings down, made it nice and tight. Well, guess what? That also restricts the landfill gas from coming up. So we've got the millings have to come out now.
I see.
And we have to put a gravel-based in there, gravel-based material in there, so it can still continue to leach. So we didn't know that until we looked at it a little bit further.
I just wasn't sure what the millings were. Any other questions? Justin, you must have something.
Yeah, no, just technical things, because I see that it's clear from here, these two asterisk items are including in a bigger price. Because
Patty's
we just have
email,
Yeah,
email from Neil to Pat.
from Neil.
this. And I'm hoping that this is just a typo. That you're adding these two.
No, this is construction services.
What does the
Like,
asterisk
say no
mean?
change. No
Because,
change from the original.
right, no change from the original one, right.
The change is the first paragraph, just, they said me.
So that just the millings, would be moving the millings and leveling is extra.
See, we have to have, Jim Gracia doesn't have the time to stay there and watch this construction and document it and follow up with the documentation. So we have to hire an engineering firm to do this and actually submit the
And
report to
monitor its
DEP.
construction?
Monitor its construction and submit the final report to DEP.
I actually think that's a better way.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's a third
Because if there's
party.
any problem,
No,
then
absolutely.
the engineering firm has some liability, right?
That's true. And DEP, I hate to say this, but they don't believe us. They believe an engineering firm, but they won't believe us.
Well, because they figure every city's trying to cut corners when it comes to environmental protection. They think we're all Republicans. I said that online, I'm not afraid to say it. Ooh. Anyway, I trust you, Joe.
What did we fund last year? Was that the monitoring wells or added wells? Or I remember
No,
we did have another funding last year.
Yes, last year was the engineering report to figure out which way to go, and that's what resulted in
The 29.
in this here, because the engineering firm was talking to DEP. DEP wanted this, they wanted that, and our engineering firm worked with them, came up with different plans, so that's what we were funding.
I see, the engineering study to see what we actually needed to
The
do.
engineering study and the actual approved plan by DEP that we can now put out the bid. That's what we paid for.
Which is good,
Right.
because it's a little cheaper than $1 million.
Yeah. So, never let somebody tell you the capital landfill doesn't cost anything.
Too bad we can't get that methane and start producing electricity.
Well,
I think there's just enough methane here to be a nuisance.
yeah.
And that's about it, right? Until it gets, accumulates somebody's basement.
Right.
I'll ask the finance director the same question on this on here, this free cash account, the one with reserves.
I got a number prior to all of these,
Okay.
these four, and a number after. Don't have.
You can give me the number after, and then I don't have to ask anymore.
4/26/19,
After all of these, including the 250 in stabilization,
correct.
we have 426 left
Yeah.
in free cash. We did good with free cash.
But we've only spent the one thing so far, right?
Yeah, no, free cash certified came in late, so.
Right, but I mean, I don't remember. This is, with the two of them, the 250 and the 315, it's almost 600,000.
The free cash was $1,031,000.
So we have plenty.
It came in on September 19th. Not.
Well, he's leaving some, I guess, for the next administration. Just nice.
Any other questions for Mr. Pipchinsky?
I have none on this particular item.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve $315,000 in a supplemental appropriation for professional services to install venting at the Oliver Street landfill. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. We'll set a public hearing for that one, Joe, at the January 6th meeting.
You know, what I would like to request of the clerk is to make sure that these get put in boxes. The ones
The
that
new councilors.
Yeah, make sure they have.
Oh.
At least read on them. Maybe they'll feel comfortable voting. Because they have 2 weeks to vote.
Right. I will definitely talk to Barbara.
Anything that's not coming.
And if any one of them wants to pick up the phone and call me and talk about it, they certainly can.
Yeah. I'll bring it up. Probably get some calls from JP.
It's okay.
Haven't you already?
All right.
Okay. The next item on the agenda was the $250,000 free cash supplemental. We already approved that.
We did vote on it?
Yes, you weren't here. Justin and
Oh,
I.
I just see it here, okay.
Yeah, we approved it, and we already have set that public hearing for the 6th. So that one will come up the 6th. The next item is C, which is $11,200 from free cash to replace the damaged doors at the highway garage.
You approved that too?
That we didn't approve.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the other one, yes, 2-0 on the stabilization.
Okay. So we're gonna go to the...
We're going to go to 11-2 free cash to replace the damaged doors at the highway garage. Again, Mr. Pipchinsky, maybe you can just give us, I mean, again, your letter's kind of...
There's a total of 12 doors, and they were put on that garage back in 1970 when the garage was built. Last winter, we had one door. As the guy was opening it, pulling the chain up, there's a cable that attaches to the bottom, and that bottom piece just curled up, and he got it 3/4 of the way up. It curled up, and the whole door just came crashing down, and he jumped out of the way. Luckily he wasn't hurt. So after that happened, we looked at all the other doors, and we found 5 more that we felt they could fold up at any time. So we replaced those 5 doors out of our budget, and we told the mayor, if we have a problem meeting our budget as it comes into April, May, would you help us put that money back? He said yes, but we didn't need it. Well, now there's 7 doors left, and we noticed that there's a couple of those doors that are starting to do the same thing. They're starting to curl, and we're very leery about opening them. And somebody could get hurt. The other thing about the doors that we're replacing, they're not insulated. The new doors are. The old doors, between the building and the door, you can stick your fingers right through it. I mean, it's open air all the way through. So it's going to be a heat saver also.
What's the material of the current doors? Was it like just a...
Oh, it's like a plywood pressboard type of thing.
Sort of what would be put on a home in that
That's correct.
70s? I mean, the kind of thing that a lot of them bubbled.
That's exactly right. No matter how much paint.
And now you're going to put on more of something that's got a more of a...
It's actually an insulated door.
Has that insulation on
And
it.
it's
Synthetic metal?
vinyl.
It's fine.
Vinyl on the outside with a sort of a backing that's
Yes.
insulated.
It's like anybody's commercial
Yeah.
garage door like
Yeah.
you would put on your house.
Now, these aren't electrically operated.
Manual.
These are all manual, we're fine with that, because if the electricity goes out, then we got to get ladders up there in the dark and pull pins,
Yeah.
so you can open the door. This way, they always open and they always close.
This going out to bid, or is our
3 price quote. We have
We already have.
We have our 3 price quote. This is the same company that put the first 5 in, so they'll all match.
So you got 3 price quotes, but you got the company that put
Yes.
the first ones in as the
Yeah.
bidder.
Yes, absolutely.
I do have one other quick question, just to issue of clarity. very end here, it says, it is the request of the Department of Public Works that the amount of 11.2 be approved and returned to the highway maintenance budget. That to me says you've already spent the money.
We've already ordered the doors.
You already ordered the
We've already
doors.
ordered the
Okay,
doors.
as long as we're clear that it's a reimbursement.
And you told the mayor you were gonna do that, just like
Yes.
you did last year.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I see this as a life cycle thing, that, 5 of them are failing.
And
Install them all at once when you build a building.
And we felt it was a safety thing. It was just something we had to address, so somebody didn't get hurt. Or at the very least, if a door falls down at 10 o'clock at night and folds up, now we've got an open building, and now we're trying to close the building up and protect it.
Anything else, Councilor Riss?
No. I would
Councilor
make a
Cobb?
motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve supplemental appropriation for $11,200 to replace garage doors, I believe five garage doors at the highway garage. Any further discussion?
7 garage.
Well,
7 doors.
Or did I read 5?
We put in
was
5 last
Oh,
year.
5 was originally
We had
replaced.
12
So
total.
we said 5, I guess that does add up. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0. I'll set a public hearing for that item at the next council meeting. Our final item is $7,100 in free cash to replace the waste oil furnace at the highway garage. I did talk to Mr. Pipchinsky before these items, and he said this was one he wanted to fast track a little, so I did set the public hearing, but we haven't taken a vote on it. So I guess I'll open it up again to the director. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory, but...
This is a replacement. We've had a waste oil furnace in there that we burn the waste oil that people bring in, that we generate ourselves from changing oils and fluids and so forth. So we had a furnace in there in the highway garage for about 15 years. Well, last spring we had the guy, or last summer we had the guy come out and clean it to get ready for fall time. And he says, I can't clean this, it's all burned out. The firebox is all burned out. He said it's past its lifetime.
Is that the expected life of the furnace?
Well,
When was it initially installed?
about 15 years ago. Yeah. I don't know.
We're
what
lucky we got 15
We're lucky
years
we
out
got
of it.
15 years out of it. Right now, what we're going to have to do before we get this one in there is we'll end up burning more natural gas. That's going to come out of our budget. If we can burn the waste oil, then that reduces our dependency on the natural gas.
Do you generate enough oil, Joe, to keep it running pretty much?
We do. Between
what people bring in and
what people bring in and what we generate, yeah, we do.
And the furnace does what? It heats the building?
It heats the building.
It's a supplemental system for the natural
Right.
gas.
It's not like we're looking to keep it 70 degrees in there. This is for the bays, where the trucks are parked. How we're looking to keep it is about 50, 55, just so that if you bring a truck in and it's covered with snow
it'll melt.
by the next morning it'll melt off.
Well, then you can do some maintenance in
True.
there.
Right, the guys can change plow blades in there, so it's not
It's not
stone cold.
freezing.
Now, because this is a good idea, with burning waste oil, do you filter it first before you actually use it
Yes.
for fuel? I really hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an obvious question. The next is, are there any kind of environmental standards that people are talking to put on a sack or something because you're burning waste oil that may contain elements of like antifreeze and things like that?
That I'm not aware of. I think we're a small enough generator where we maybe don't kick any triggers.
Does it burn with a lot of smoke or?
No.
No smoke? Because I mean, I've never,
Hot enough flame.
that's what I think is I never noticed anything. I can't say I go by every time I look at either, so.
Joe, it's pretty standard practice for both public and private garages, is it not?
Yes.
I'm just surprised the waste oil is the right viscosity to burn. I thought it had to be like diesel fluid viscosity to burn in a furnace. I guess not.
This will burn. Burn everything.
Do they have to have a special burner that'll take that kind of viscosity?
The biggest thing, yeah, the biggest thing is making sure it's clean. Making sure it's it's tuned, because if it's not tuned, it's gonna plug. and
It's
not-
probably tuned for the oil you're putting in, not the thin stuff. Home heating oil.
And then I'll look up for 85% efficiency or something like that.
Right.
To burn.
As a supplemental heat source.
Good.
Would there be any other uses for the oil? I mean, could you sell used oil? Or, I mean,
No,
it's not really.
Used to put it on gravel roads, right, dirt roads.
yeah,
That was not a good
that was not a
thing.
good thing. The thing is,
You pay someone to take it away now.
I was just gonna say, it's
So
gonna
it's gonna
cost
cost
you.
rather
It's
than-
gonna
Yeah,
cost you
because
to
they're
have to
required
make it in.
to have
Do the
a
citizens have
storage
to
tank.
pay? I've
with
never
all kinds
taken
of
it. They just hand it in and
They
you...
just- Citizens come in, and the only thing we ask is that one of us is there when we're dumping it in, because the guys have to check it. We gotta make sure that it's not mixed with gasoline.
Yeah,
They
nuts
have
and
to make
bolts or
sure-
whatever else
Or,
might be.
or antifreeze, because that won't burn that, it'll just clog that.
Yeah.
So these guys know what it's supposed to look like, and as they start dumping it, they won't take it if it's not the right stuff.
I used to change my oil when I could get to an oil filter. I can't get to an oil filter
Yeah,
anymore in my
right.
car, so I don't. But I remember going there, and the gentleman would watch you pour it in. You know, it had a little sort of screen on the top,
That's
so
right.
any particles or that
My
of any
son-
size would be.
My son changes his oil in my garage and I have all this waste oil
Well-
accumulating. I think I'll come over.
You could help the city out.
We will
Dan.
take it.
You can help the city out.
I don't know why he can't do this. They don't even ask you for an ID as to whether or not you live in the city, right?
No, no.
I'll make a motion to approve if there's no more discussion.
I'll second again.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve $7,100 for the replacement of the oil waste furnace at the highway garage. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
3-0, and that public hearing's already set, so it's public hearing, public hearing, public hearing. I believe that's all the agenda items. There's nothing else that the councilors want to discuss?
Move
Thank
to
you,
adjourn.
folks.
Move to adjourn?
Thanks, Mel.
And we shut this little gizmo off.